The SEC is reportedly considering a simplified listing process for crypto ETFs that could automate much of the approval process. Under the proposed structure, issuers could potentially skip the lengthy 19B-4 application process and list within just 75 days. This is huge. Of course, we need to understand these guys understand that there is going to be a huge demand for digital assets, and they're also realizing the fact that there's going to be a lot of filings for multiple different assets, and they need to streamline the process. And I think this makes a lot of sense. I think the first batch of the ETFs are going to get approved once they do, with the way they were originally filed. But I think moving forward, as we do step into the future, I think this really does become a norm. Let me know in the comments down below what your personal thoughts are. But welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the XRP holders. Appreciate you guys as always, bringing you guys updates on a regular day-to-day basis. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? But as we are going into Wednesday morning, seeing the market shifting back into the green. But if you're looking at XRP, $2.19, still down about 1.2% in USD and about 1.1% in Bitcoin comparative. Valuation approaching 130 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about 2.75 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So, US M2 money supply hits a new all-time high of $21.94 trillion. That is crazy, crazy number, guys. And this M2 supply has been skyrocketing. And of course, we know what kind of impact this can have on the crypto markets. Remember, Bitcoin is positively correlated to the M2 supply. It's been following, this chart, and as of now, Bitcoin is also holding quite steady. And I think, Bitcoin could push towards an all-time high this month. Historically speaking, month of July is quite a bullish month. So of course, that is something that, we also need to keep into consideration. Moving forward, biggest news from today, in my opinion, shout out to Nate Garcia. XRP will now be accessible to everyday investors, via the Grayscale Digital Large Cap ETF. After nearly 5 years of SEC versus Ripple litigation, and now anyone will be able to easily access XRP in SEC regulated investment vehicle. Full circle moment, and I could not agree more. A lot of people still not realizing the big, potential of this. Now, people can have easy access to XRP. You don't even need to go into centralized exchanges or make your own wallet. It just changes the game. And on top of that, as we are seeing traditional finance coming together with the crypto markets, meaning a lot of banks, a lot of financial institutions across the world getting that clarity to come on board and obviously offer their clientele cryptocurrency services. That just changes the game and brings even more potential of capital to inflow into the markets. And of course, I shared with you guys yesterday of the inflows. If you are looking at inflows for Bitcoin and gold, Bitcoin's actually outpacing gold's inflows, which again tells you where the smart money is really moving right now. Moving forward, shout out to Anders saying XRP ETFs will attract boomer money because XRP is the easiest crypto asset to understand thanks to its support by Ripple. Everyone understand how much cross-border payments suck. Every generation, older people understand it even more. A regular person have no idea about the benefits of ETH as a churning, completely smart contract platform, and I cannot agree more with that. And look what XRPJ says: billions of inflows from ETFs are about to change the game, and 100% green light for Wall Street. Wall Street's coming on board. Remember, once XRP gets that ETF approval, Wall Street is coming on board. And on top of that, look at this: S&P 500 hit a new all-time high. Performance in 2025, though, 5.5% increase, but US dollar down a staggering 11%. We talked about the DXY in my last update, how DXY has been going down, but we understand, the Bitcoin correlation is the complete opposite, meaning negative correlation in economics and finance. So, when DXY weakens, you see the likes of Bitcoin strengthen, and of course, vice versa. But this time around, of course, that's happening. But in the long term, regardless of US dollar going up or not, Bitcoin has always outpaced it in the long, bigger picture perspective. So this is a very interesting take. Do let me know in the comments down below what your personal thoughts are on the DXY. And look at this, Japan didn't just adopt XRP, they made it a financial standard. 80% of their banks, SBI backing, mega institutions lining up since day one. Ripple is woven into Japan's financial DNA. Think the West won't follow. That's your bet to lose. And I could not agree more. At the end of the day, everyone's speculating, but look what's happening in the West. A lot of clarity coming towards the industry. And as Trump has said, 1,000 times at this point, he wants to make the U.S. the global hub, because if, they don't become the global hub, other countries will come on board very happily. And just because U.S. wants to make it a global hub doesn't mean other countries won't, put a fight. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting things that we're going to hear in the future, and it's really going to be fun actually to see how that plays out. And moving forward, subjective view says spot XRP ETF by Q3 and Q4, and I do personally agree with that as well based off of what we're hearing. I think this could really become a reality in the short span of time, and that kind of puts us in a very good timing, because of course a potential rate cut by then could really trigger a lot of excitement. If you're looking at dominance, you're 65.51%. It's pretty much still hovering around this range, gaining obviously momentum. If you're looking at BTC, Bitcoin, let's actually give it a refresh live. We actually came down to $107,000. I'm sorry, came up to $107,145. We have been able to came back above that 106,800, which is again a very, very nice to see. I'm very excited about that. Exactly where you want to see Bitcoin at. If you're looking at XRP, it's approaching $2.20. Loving it. But target remains to be the same at the $2.32. So very, very important. If we're able to break out of here, 23.6 is pretty much open for us to get back above, which of course pretty much starts the next leg up in my opinion. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that red subscribe button. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.